All right. You got this. You got this. All right. It's been a long time, man. A week long, all stays. WrestleMania, you went through the gauntlet. You went through Takeover. You went through WrestleMania. You went through Raw. You went through SmackDown. You went all week.
I can't
over
do it.
10 hours.
I don't think
you
I
have
can do
to. You have to hydrate. Drink. Watch. Just drink. Water. I drink. Just keep drinking. Keep drinking. Come on. Go. Go, 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 go. Be alive.
I'm alive.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
I knew my program will get you back. I was going to use electricity next.
God.
But, I'm so glad we didn't have to go that far. But,
okay.
Listen, I can't get you breathing. We have to start. We have to go.
Wait, start what? What are we doing?
Podcast. It's been 3 weeks. You've been in a coma from all the stuff. We have to go. No time. Let's not talk about it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Listen, folks, we got a big jam pack today. This is going crazy. I am Kane Super Snooker, and that's my man from Nolan's Faded Scene, and this is Off the Ropes. Welcome back to Off the Ropes, folks. You know who I am. I am Kane Super Snooker, and I got my man over there from Nolan's, Tommy the Faded Saint. And whoo, doggy, it is going to be a jam packer, and hopefully, in this case, a jam packer that we're not going to probably see for quite a while, since we are blessed with pay-per-views going into just dual Raw and SmackDown. So it's only going to be one pay-per-view pretty much a month. Hopefully, maybe something else. I don't know what the WWE is going to do, but this one's going to be super packed. I had to make sure that Chris was alive for this. He had a long week, WrestleMania weekend. He went through Takeover. He went through WrestleMania. He went through Raw and SmackDown. So we're going to get some first-person experience at the arena, along with myself watching it online at WWE's network. And we're just going to go right into also the greatest Royal Rumble, just to get it out of the way. Of course, I have my nickname for it. I call it the Greatest Sausage Fest. But I digress. We'll go ahead and talk into the dive of that. But man, Kami, how you feeling, baby?
Dude, I am rough. Like, that was insanity. Like, it was a great experience. It's one that really I only got one chance to do. So I was more than happy to go through and do it. If they ever do WrestleMania here again, I'll probably just do Takeover and maybe the Raw after WrestleMania. Probably SmackDown though. But wow. Like me and Vest did Takeover New Orleans. Me, my brother, my sister, her fiance, her friends, and a couple of friends of mine did WrestleMania. I did Raw after WrestleMania with no voice. And I did SmackDown basically without getting out of my chair once. Because I was so tired, I was falling asleep on the streetcar to SmackDown. I was like on the way there, I was like I was there. It's like everyone was just like, "Yay! It's the Iconics." I was like,
do things." Well, I have to say it was quite a boastful weekend though to have everything done at once. It must have been awesome in the moment versus just being so tired after the fact.
Oh, it was. It was absolutely amazing to see all of those things live. And speaking of, it's going to be interesting doing this show because it's going to be what I saw live versus you and actually seeing the camera angles and the freaking commentary, because I did not hear the commentary. Like, I saw the whole Mauro Ranallo really loves his job like reel from Takeover New Orleans after the fact. Mm-hmm. I can tell you from our vantage point, we could see him and he was selling like he was first in line at the buffet.
Oh yeah, 100%. It was actually really interesting to see what was going on from your point of view as much as that. And we have a big one. What do we got going on right now? What's on our list, man? Let's hit it up.
Well, we're going to start off with Takeover New Orleans. This was, by all accounts, probably the best the best NXT pay-per-view to date that they have put on, just by the ratings and the critical acclaim that it got. It is also probably the best show that they put on the entire weekend.
I can't agree with you more, especially since that very first match, which was that ladder match, man. Oh my God. The craziness that went on in that event. I have to say, you got to see it from first-hand experience. I'm seeing it from watching on the network. The network camera, a hard cam, the side camera actions they were using, everything in between was just beautifully done. We got some really good shots going up the ladder and all that kind of stuff.
And we are, of course, talking about the ladder match for the brand new NXT North American title, which pitted EC3 versus Adam Cole, baby, versus the Velveteen Dream, versus Lars Sullivan, versus Killian Dane, versus they debuting Ricochet. And holy crap.
That's like an understatement. I feel like it's an understatement.
Let's get this out of the way. This was a 5-star. Money Meltzer rated this a 5-star match, and it had every intention to. The crowd was in it. Everyone was in it. The spots were insane. Like, watching it live in the crowd, like, they were just so hot for this. For this, just straight up, it was a huge spot fest. The whole part where EC3 did Adam Cole's thing got like a huge pop, and then when
EC3 baby.
And then when Adam Cole got his burning revenge, like directly after, it was absolutely the frick amazing. But yeah, Ricochet, man, talk about bringing your A game. He was bumping and he was selling like a more talented Dolph Ziggler.
That, and also just I have to appreciate some of the roots in some of the new talent and what they do. Like, I remember, now I'm going to call him Patrick, even though we all know him as the Velveteen Dream. But yeah. Patrick was actually a candidate in the more recent and still failing Tough Enough. And he was on that show. And of course, the two people that won are not even with the WWE anymore. I digress. Going back to Velveteen here. If you didn't notice, his pants was hand sprayed like what Rick Rude would do.
Right on.
And it was all of his opponents in the ladder match was on his pants. So the psychosis that the Velveteen Dream, who has been doing this actually since even his big debut match against Black, it's evolving into that, and it's showing some roots to some of the coolest wrestlers. I mean, Rick Rude was famous for doing those amazing airbrushes or spray-ons on his suit, on his tights, like the Intercontinental one, the one with I believe it was Macho Man's wife, Miss Elizabeth. I'm not sure. That I'm a little off.
Jake Roberts' wife, yeah,
Jake Roberts, yeah, exactly. And his wife on his pants, like that was happening with the Velveteen Dream's pants. It had all the members of the ladder match in that thing. So it was kind of cool to see that kind of new talent taking on some of the old school, behaviors and on their attire. So that was fantastic. And I as much as we all know who won and how EC3 and Ricochet was awesome, I still think the Velveteen Dream was the MVP of the night, man. He took a lot of shit and he gave a lot of spots that were, I would say, flawless. I loved every move of what he was doing.
Right. No, everyone here deserves a big round of applause. Even the big guys, even Lars, even Killian, because they like that double that competing dueling ladders take out everyone spot that they did.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was freaking insane. Like we could hear that, like up in the seats where me and Vest were. we were near the top of the arena. But the way the Smoothie King Arena is set up is that really almost anywhere you've got a really good shot of the ring in there. So it really doesn't matter where you were, but you could hear it clearly when they went through those ladders, when they did those dueling spots. It was insane. But ultimately, there could only be one winner, and that winner was
Adam Cole,
baby. Absolutely. And
those last 3 minutes of the match alone was worth it. That just, even if you were doing like skips on the network to watch it, just the last 3 minutes is totally worth watching on its own, let alone the whole damn thing.
Exactly. That is actually, I think, that is one of the only 3 matches that I went back and I rewatched over the entire weekend.
Yeah,
I've only rewatched actually 3 matches out of the entirety of it. It was worthy of its 5-star rating. It was absolutely phenomenal live. It was phenomenal in the watch back. Because I watched this match specifically with a couple of my friends who are into WWE but haven't really gotten into NXT yet. And so this is the perfect match because this showcases probably their best workers, their 2 best big men, their 2 best flyers, and their 2 best new prospects. And it was probably about the best, the most perfect ladder match since Shawn and Razor.
I would say so. It was definitely well worth the effort of even watching the WWE Network if you're not someone who's like, oh, I'm going to start. Well, this was the month to start it. It was definitely it. And it just kept getting better. I think NXT was the biggest orgasm of wrestling so far. But we do have some skips in the road, and the next match was one of them. I was a little disappointed, but we all know what we're talking about here.
Oh yeah, it was the rematch. It was the one that I was worried about. Of course, it was Ember Moon versus Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's title. It was the exact same match.
It really was. Scaringly, it was. Except of course the ending.
Like I know you didn't see, or at least when we reviewed it, you hadn't seen the first match, and I had told you not to. Did you ever go back and see the first match? I
did, and
was I right?
You were, and what sucked about this match was this was her graduation match, and I felt it was the worst gift ever. Worse than Bayley's.
I felt it was such a letdown for Ember. I mean, of course she was going to lose because she graduated to the main roster and she debuted on Raw on the Monday after Raw, which the crowd loved her. But man, I hope this is just the fact that they didn't have chemistry. I really do.
Well, that's the problem with Shayna. She wants to just be a broody Brock Lesnar. I mean, future side conversation here, because cat's out of the bag. Everyone pretty much knows and watched Wrestlemania. But, her counterpart, Ronda, did much more than I was expecting what Shayna was doing to be Ronda's situation. And
I would
that
dare
was
say,
not the case.
I would dare say that was that her match was one of the best matches of that night.
Yeah. So but my interpretation of what Ronda was going to do was exactly what Shayna Baszler did. She was stiff. MMA style things I was expecting all the typicals, and it was there. And of course, she has no real talented finisher. So what do we give her? We give her a sleeper. That's it.
And you see, I don't mind that it's a sleeper. That's a nice MMA type thing. But it's the same thing every time. It was the same thing in the Mae Young Classic was catch him in the middle of jumping off the rope and then put him in it. And it was. They did this stupid sell for it so long the first time, and then they tried to do it again, and felt like it was even, again, I was live, so I don't know if it was actually even longer that they had her in the hold or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it was like this was, I would actually venture to say, that this was the worst match of the weekend.
Oh, I don't know if I would go that far. There was a lot of bad ones. But I have to say this was disappointing for one reason, and that was
Ember deserved better.
Yes, and that it was more importantly because it was her graduation match. It was going to be this is her goodbye. I mean, nobody's going to top the best graduation match, which is personally to me is Sami Zayn and Shinsuke. When Sami was going, that was probably the best of all time graduation match ever.
I will cop to that. That is 100% accurate. Yes. 100%.
And I don't see. I felt that was for someone like Ember Moon, who has been really making an effort changing what women's wrestling is on NXT since they lost a lot of big talent going to the main roster. Mm-hmm. I felt that this was a grave injustice for her because she literally went out like Bayley, and I was disappointed in that graduation match too.
I agree wholeheartedly. She deserved better, but she's out of it now. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of graduation matches that night, and but it is what it is. It wasn't like anyone was surprised here. Your winner and new NXT Women's Champion, Shayna Baszler. But thankfully, that was it. That was the worst.
Rocket ship for the rest, man. Holy shit, the rocket ship going high. Like I said, this was the orgasm pay-per-view of the weekend. I mean, NXT Takeover was never a disappointment naturally, but I felt like I was watching a show, like a really good show on TV, and they just ended on like one of the most amazing endings. And then someone on the other side goes and looks at Wrestlemania and goes, "Your turn." Like, really what? Fuck! Like I don't know what's gonna go on, and they just panicked the rest of WrestleMania. That's just how good it just like it. How do you follow that kind of situation?
I mean, you really can't, but also at the same time, what can you do in that particular?
One we're talking about is the NXT Tag Team Championship Triple Threat match. It was the Undisputed Era. Along with Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne, and the Authors of Pain against the NXT Tag Titles, and also to win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, which that's the only pet peeve I have. I prefer that this is isolated to the title match, but it lined up real nice, and the match was just the
Adam Cole
turn at the end. Oh my God.
Adam Cole. The story of the match being that he got wrecked, and he did. He got wrecked in that match. So, for those of you who don't know, Bobby Fish tore his MCL. He's out for 6 months. Regal basically said, "Guess what? Cole, you got to step in and do it, or he's going to do it or Beaker is going to do it by himself." Mm-hmm. And AOP obviously they weren't going to win it, and Dunne and Strong, like I don't know about you, but I've been really like digging Pete Dunne lately. Like I'm all about him.
The overall talent right now in NXT has revitalized again. We were worried when a lot of pushes happened.
More with this title though. They need to do more with that United Kingdom's title.
Which, by the way, which something we totally skipped. That ladder match was for the very first North American title.
I mentioned that. I threw that in there. I mentioned it. We got it. We got it.
So right now, Adam Cole is walking into a tag team match half fucked up as the North American champion, tagging in with his boy for the whole thing.
Yeah, Beaker.
To that, which is that Undisputed Era is just one of the best factors.
This was a quick match, or not a quick match. This was a quick paced match. They took Adam Cole out almost immediately, and they put him through the Spanish announce table, and it was over and done with. Like. It was like, bye. No need, Adam Cole. You are, sir, not appearing in this match. Like, literally. Mm-hmm. He was in there for, 5 minutes and then done. And, geez, after that, it was just... it was a lot of Kyle O'Reilly getting, the double submission on Pete Dunne and one of the members of the AOP. It was a lot of back and forth with the AOP being dominant. And then Dunne and Strong going back and forth. A lot of double teams, a lot of quick saves, a lot of really desperate saves from Beaker, trying to just do anything he can by himself to keep a hold of his titles.
Damn right.
And there was a lot of really close calls right up in there to the end, which nobody saw coming. I know the crowd in there freaked out when out of nowhere Pete Dunne had Kyle O'Reilly beat, and then Roderick Strong hits him with the best the best neck breaker ever, pulls O'Reilly over, and 1, 2, 3, your winner and still tag team champions, the Undisputed Era.
But now following Roderick Strong.
Yep. When Roddy put on that Undisputed Era armband, the place
blew up. And it's great. This was a good example of a heel turn, by the way. This whole situation coming in, duping the whole process to begin with, by the way, because Roderick had to make this decision before he went into this match to screw over Pete and to get the Undisputed Era over. You had the challenges that he had to think about to make this happen, because AOP ain't going to bow out easy. They weren't going to put them on their backs, as AOP is very hard to defeat naturally. I mean, hell, look at back in the day when DIY had to fight them. It was unreal. I mean, the evolution of AOP besides this was so great. Ever since Paul Ellering brought them out from the very first time against American Alpha to now, changed the platform of really good tag team wrestling from NXT. And then it brought it to the table to this very match. Roderick Strong had to think about how to get them out of the way, screw over Pete Dunne so the Undisputed Era could retain, and then walk right into that faction with gold. That is what happened. And that way the story plucked.
The crowd was so into it.
And that was a really great example of what a heel turn really can show. You know, hashtag save Roman Reigns. I don't know what to tell you, but this is textbook heel turn amazement.
I like it. I liked it.
I like it, Maggle.
I like it, Maggle.
And it was a great match, and it keeps going because the next match was even freaking better.
Oh, we are, of course, talking about the NXT Championship match, which a really quick point here. When we found out that we were getting the NXT Championship match next, and the realization in the crowd as to what was actually going to be the last match, they lost their minds, because the NXT Championship match was second to last. That is, of course, Cien. No, what is it? Almas.
Andre Cien Almas.
Andrade Cien Almas versus Aleister Black for the NXT Championship. Of course, Cien with the Lady Ciampa. We still haven't seen them in the same place at the same time. I'm just saying. And once again, this was a fast-paced, really hard-hitting match. They actually really made me believe for a little bit there that Black was not going to walk out of this.
Yes, and I have to point this out right now, but I know that we make fun of her, but let's be real. She probably has to be the most effective side manager ever.
Oh, she is so good. She is one of the few good things that have come out of Impact.
That's a big thing, big say right there. I mean, you have your heavyweight champion on SmackDown right now.
She came out of Impact, and she almost immediately turned around like his freaking Cien was dying.
Andrade was a dying star. Yeah,
he was dead in the water.
Nobody liked him when he came out originally. He was a face. Everyone hated him. He was terrible. He couldn't get the crowd to react to him. But as soon as they turned him heel and gave her as a side manager, whew,
yeah. Once they let her start doing all the talking for him.
Yeah, and not only that, but she Hurricane Running your opponent while the ref is distracted. We're going beyond sand in the eyes and holding the foot. We're going past Bobby Brain and all that stuff right now, man. We're going meta level crazy effectiveness. She's doing a work. She's doing physical wrestling minutia on his opponents, making the heat go crazy. By the way, for the crowd, the fact that this is better than any of the male sidekicks that even Jinder Mahal's side lackeys, or even the Miz's Miz Taraj. They would never make such a greater effort than she has, because Not only does she pull off these moves awesomely, but she also makes her believe that she's just there. She's just, I'm the manager. I'm not there to, do anything. I can't do all this stuff. What are you talking about? That kind of thing that the ref doesn't make you believe or throw her out. And of course, to the demise, which is great about this whole match, is every inch of the way. Yes, people thought Aleister was not walking away at all as the new champion, because the entire time, every time he got the leg up, she brought the leg back down. And, of course, the biggest pop ever was the last attempt at trying to be effective again. She tries to get Aleister Black out of the way and totally goes the wrong direction. Andrade gets in the way of that, screws him out. Black goes for his finisher. GG.
Yeah. Hey, that's pretty much how we saw it over there. When she did the crossbody and was pushed off, and Andrade caught her, and then he got kicked in the head. It was like, oh, damn, that's a good way of doing that.
Yeah, and of course we have a brand new NXT champion.
Yep, your winner, Aleister Black.
Now,
go ahead.
Before we get into this, I'm going to be super quiet about this match. This match seems to be an audience-friendly match.
Oh my God. I
need to hear the deets of how the crowd was, the entire motivational movement of this next match for the unsanctioned match between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa.
All right. Well, yep. And
I'm drawing the lights, putting the soft music in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Give it to me passionately. What was that like?
I can't lie. It was amazing. How to basically. Okay, so I don't know what you guys heard. Actually, I kind of do, but I was kind of falling asleep when I rewatched the match. The live feed did not do the live crowd justice. When Ciampa walked out to nothing, it quite literally was nothing but "fuck you, Ciampa." And just imagine everyone, not just some of the people, not just the people who were around the camera, quite literally everyone chanting that. And it was just, Ciampa is the heel that we deserve. He really is. He's the biggest heel in the company. He absolutely is. Not a single person was cheering for him. Not a single person. Everyone wanted to watch him get his ass kicked. I'm not even talking. Right now, I'm pre-match still. We haven't even gotten to the match yet. Everyone wanted him to get his ass kicked. I'm pretty sure that after it, there were a few people waiting outside for him. And then once the match actually started, they were so hot for Johnny Gargano. They were so invested in really wanting Ciampa to get it. And all of the spots, the one which I remember the most, the one which got the biggest reaction, was the freaking powerbomb on the cement. Again, me and Vest were up towards the top of the arena, and we heard that where it was. Just imagine taking a nice big ribeye steak and just throwing it as hard as you can on the ground, and that was the sound that it made. Everyone cringed, and then there was the "you deserved it" chant over and over again. Man, they made us believe that there was a good chance that Johnny Gargano was not going to win. I thought that Ciampa was going to win it, and he was going to just take it because they had invested so much in Kurt Angle and Daniel Bryant saying, "I want Gargano to lose because we want him on our brand." They were setting up the bidding war for Johnny Gargano and going over and over again. And that just the last bit where Johnny's about to go and hit him with the thing, mirroring their match from the CWC over 2 years ago, where Ciampa went to go kick Johnny and he couldn't do it. And then Johnny sits down next to him and and just going for the swing and him missing and Johnny putting him in the whatever he's calling that, his submission and the tap out. I have never heard such a huge pop. They were so into it. It was such a good match. Again, another 5-star match that was well deserving of what of the rating that it got. I can't really say enough good things about this match. I am amazed that I got to see this match live. I got to see 2 5-star matches in the same night live. It was the live feed. The feed could not do the in-person justice. The electricity that just went out throughout the building. It was amazing. It was unlike anything I've ever experienced. It was by far and above the best live show experience I've had as long as I've been going to these things.
Sounds like the roof blew up.
It was a danger there for a little bit, we thought. But
I have to say, one of the most highlighted moments of that whole match was just how the crowd was taking everything Ciampa was doing. And my favorite was the whole "You deserve it" chant was used as a negative tone during that whole situation with him hitting the cement like that.
Yeah.
God. Look, and the best part about Ciampa coming out with no music, which is how deafening the crowd could not be any louder.
They
Like,
hated him.
That was like worse than Roman heat. And that's a lot. And Tommaso Ciampa is just probably I can't agree with you more about how he's the strongest heel going out right now. He is the heel that's running that deal right now, and I really hope that they utilize him for a NXT Championship storyline, because he just imagine if Tommaso Ciampa justly deserves a match against Black and he wins, and then like literally right afterwards, Ciampa like gets at him.
Well, it's also the stuff that he does, the extra stuff. They sat there and he walks out wearing a Tommaso Ciampa shirt that he has gone on record saying that we're never going to sell this. I've got the only one. Y'all can't have it. Screw y'all. He sat there and he will just sit there and he will just relentlessly taunt his opponent through Twitter. He will relentlessly taunt fans. He flat out this weekend was posting spoilers for Infinity War on his Twitter.
Oh my God.
Up. He was just like, by the way, this happened. I don't know what happened because I don't follow him directly for that exact reason.
My God.
But I mean, that's he does not care. He's like old school. He wants you to meet him out in the parking lot. He wants you to chase him out of town. He wants you to slash his tires. He wants you to do it all. He doesn't want to be the cool guy. He wants to be
the classic heel.
He wants to be the classic heel.
Like 70s cannot be confirmed driving with faces heel.
Exactly.
Like that level.
And that was Takeover.
Oh man.
One really depressing match.
Smack. Oh my God. And even then drowns out.
It drowns out. And I'm willing to even go as far as to say that it's not necessarily a bad match as much as it was just the same match as before. I mean, it was an all right match, but it was a match that they had already played. I feel
like NXT is just, I feel like rebranding and calling it Indie Pro. Like, I felt like the best of the best independent work. And the person you really have to thank is the person who sucks in as a heel naturally right now and is just doing well, with the exception of his match at Wrestlemania. But you have to thank Triple H. He totally took that whole thing over. Like, there's no Vince writers, there's no Vince, there's no nothing. It is pure H now doing the whole bit, getting his own guys behind the system, and just WWE. I'm laying it right now. If he can get people hot and wild for NXT so much that they'd rather go watch NXT over watching Raw and SmackDown, I think you need to realize who your next successor for Vince McMahon is. Don't done it up.
Well, he's taking over 205 Live, and you've seen what's happened to that show.
Yeah, exactly. This is my exact goddamn point. All right, Kami, this is the exact point. He could do this at NXT. He could do this to 205 Live. What in God's green earth do you think he's not going to be able to do this for Raw and SmackDown and every goddamn pay-per-view? When he retires, Vince McMahon, I'm talking to you, bro. When you retire officially, can't even lift your freaking finger to press the goddamn button to yell in Michael Cole's ear anymore. If you can't do that anymore, and you're about to pass the buck, better give it to your son-in-law, because God damn it, he's the reason why half of the people that hated Vince McMahon were okay to come to the Hall of Fame. Bruno Sammartino,
he reached
God
out.
rest his soul. He's the main reason why he was even there for the Hall of Fame. He was like, I don't believe in this product anymore. It is just a sham show ever since the Attitude Era. And Triple H talked him out. He reached out to him. He even provided him proof that it's beyond that now. Turn the whole script. Triple H. Whole script. He may not be really cool. Like, I don't know why they don't make Stephanie and him a face, because when you watch the shit outside of Raw, they're the most amazing, lovable people to watch. Like when WWE Access, they take the camera and they go on stream and they walk around the arena. They're lovable. They're attracted to watch. They're just that awesome. All of the stuff that Stephanie does to make the brand big when it comes to the charities and the events and the Connor Award, they're a beautiful soul. Can we stop the corporate process? Can we not make Vince copies of what corporate needs to be? They could be cool. They could be amazing. They could be great faces, like Kurt Angle or even like Shane. They could be awesome. They don't have to be heels because they're not believable anymore. I know this is no more going to talk about NXT, but my point here is that go full throttle with Triple H. Every way, shape, or form. Make him the amazing corporate face. Give him more writing and interference for Raw and SmackDown. Don't make him just a peg on the side next to you in the gorilla room. Let him sit in front of you instead of sitting there. Be the man that goes, I don't know about that, versus you doing it my way.
I have to agree. 100%.
That's it.
But I mean, that's why NXT, and again, and I'm going to point this out, this was a short 3 hours in and out, money's worth. You know, it was good. I was good. I was tired, but I was like good tired. By the way, I don't think anyone here is going to be surprised when we say A+.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not even gonna give the women's championship match a scar on this shiny plate.
It doesn't matter because the other matches made up for it.
Because even though I didn't like the ending, it was still a decent women's match. It wasn't like a shit show. But I'll tell you this: there's nothing that's gonna outluster the emotional impact between the tag match with Roderick Strong changing out, the heel interference, and realizing that not every time a manager can do it, can sell it out there from the championship match. The beautifulness and the fact that they brought some really cool roots in with Velveteen, with his tights and the spots that they did, and then of course the unsanctioned match that just made the crowd be as alive as, I mean, I've never screamed so hard in my life at the screen when Tommaso Ciampa was in that hold when Gargano had him with his bracer in his face.
That was nasty. That was nasty live.
The last time I was screaming for the tap was when Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano were buddies still at DIY and had the revival tapping together in the middle of the ring for the last third final 2 out of 3 falls match.
I don't understand.
But this is just the innateness of how everything went down. It made it electrifying, and once again, like really good, passionate show. like a really awesome movie that came out, and then you just stare at WrestleMania and you go, your turn. And now they have to bring their best at it. And of course, because it's Vince and his writers and his politics and his corporate and the mainstream. Remember, the corporate only cares about Raw and SmackDown. In their mind, Raw and SmackDown is their moneymaker because it's on TV, because they make money from the commercials. They make a lot of money from branding. So SmackDown and Raw is their bread and butter in their minds. So everyone's got their hand in the goddamn cookie jar. Well, what do you think WrestleMania is in this case, right? So here we are at it again with the goddamn pre-cook. What do we got going?
Well, I want to also preface this as saying, me and my group of friends who got in there, which also include two of our newest listeners, my friend Otter, and I'll figure out some pseudonym to give my other friend. But needless to say, Otter and Shinsuke fan number one, we'll call him because he's a huge fan of Shinsuke Nakamura. We got there. So just to give you a frame of reference as to why I've had to recover so much and just why this event in particular was just so bad. We left my place at 1:20, hopped a streetcar, and we headed down to the Superdome. We got to the Superdome around 2 in order to grab something to eat. The gates opened at 4:30, and it was packed as it was. We went ahead and we got in. The pre-cook didn't start until about... Well, the pre-cook started at 4:30, so they opened the gates at 4. Yeah, they opened the gates at 4. No, they opened the gates at... Okay, so we got there at 2. We ate. They opened the gates at 3. The pre-cook started at 4, yeah. And the first wrestling match was at 5. That first wrestling match, of course, being the Andre the Giant Men's Battle Royal, which was everyone who was...
I call it this as much as I appreciate Andre the Giant, but it's purely political. This was named only because they want to get riled up, but really, if you swipe away the Mustafa of this whole thing, it's literally just who wants to get paid for WrestleMania match, because this is where everyone else went to get paid.
This thing needs to go away. I understand.
No. I don't think it needs to go away. I just think that we just need to call it like it is, and that is, if you want to get paid, you need to be somewhere. So here's the Andre the Battle Royale. No,
it needs to go away, and this will get explained at the end of the review. So this match started at 5 p.m. Central Time. So keep that in mind here. That was the first match. I've already been on the road and at the arena for 3.5 hours at this point. So keep that in mind here. First match, it's 3.5 hours from when I left to when the match started. An hour and a half since I got into the arena and the match started. But, so, I mean, it's a battle royal. What do you expect? It is what it is. The best part about this battle royal was the end, when Bray Wyatt showed up out of nowhere and helped your friend and mine, Matt Hardy, win the battle royal. That was really it. That was the only interesting thing that happened. And then they embraced together as the what are they? Is there an official name for them? The Woken of Worlds?
Well, according to future tense, it is the Leader of Worlds.
The Leader of Worlds. Okay, so the Leader of Worlds joining together as the Leader of Worlds. Matt Hardy is your Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner, and he was like talking to the statue, and it was all really over. That's all anyone ever cared about.
And you notice there was no celebrity or fun, quirky people in this one.
And you know what? We did notice that because we all thought the Kid Rock was going to play. Thank God he didn't, because that would have been another 30 minutes on top of everything.
True.
But I mean, again, so then after that was, of course, the finals of the Cruiserweight Championship. Now, we all know that he who shall not be named has now officially retired from wrestling completely. He's not coming back ever. Good. But this was the direct result of him basically lying to the company and not giving them the heads up, and then whatever indiscretions he did or didn't do came up on basically the day of Raw's 25th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he was fired. He was fired because he lied and he didn't give them the heads up, and they looked dumb. Not because of anything that he did.
They looked like they were trying to wash it, and they didn't even know.
But it was Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. And this match kind of snuck up on me because I literally left like right after the men's battle royal to like go grab some concessions. And like while I'm in the concession line, I hear the music play and I'm like, crap. And I ran back to my seat. After I got through the concessions, I ran back to my seat as fast as I could. This was a good payoff. This match deserved to be on the main card.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good match. With all the strides that they've done to make 205 Live a thing again, you know, this match deserved to get more recognition than it did. That being said, Alexander and Ali, babyface versus babyface, was a really good match. I enjoyed it a lot. There was a lot of back and forth. I mean, it was the only actual match.
Yeah, realistically. And
I mean, two battle royals, which is just
hey, at least on the bright side, this one at least will be on the DVD release. Last year's WrestleMania, they deleted Neville versus whoever that he was.
double.
Yeah. so that's good news. But it happened. That's pretty much it.
I mean, this could have gone either way. They went with Cedric Alexander as your winner and new Cruiserweight champion. I mean, that's been basically a storyline since the beginning of 205 Live. Awesome, I guess. It deserved. It was a good match. I would have cared more about it on the main show, but it was a good little match. I mean, at least we got an actual wrestling match on the pre-cook. Which brought us to probably the worst match of the night. And I'm sorry, guys, I don't actually have a proper stinger like I do for everything else. This was literally the only...
I'm going to need to do a disclaimer here because I'm realizing there's a trend going on. We actually will still say this now, and we'll always say this. We love women's matches. We love them when they're great. We love the diversity. But, you know, it sucks that the women's pool is now getting so saturated to the point where they need to now start doing what they do with the men's, just finding places to push them. And this is one of those situations. It's Andre 2.0 with the women's battle. But, you know, this. And, of course, it already started in controversy because they decided to call it the Moolah Classic. Moolah. Yeah, the Moolah Classic Battle Royale before they renamed it the women's one because, of course, Moolah has a dark history.
But the problem is that by nature, and there's only one real match that really escapes this. Battle Royals are kind of freaking boring, man. They really are. Royal Rumble is a way to make it interesting because you're throwing some people around, but for the most part, like they're not great matches. And this was just like, I mean, this one, it was a battle royal. Like, it wasn't bad, but it was a battle royal. Like, the only thing was the fans really hated the freaking ending. I don't know if that came through, but the fans wanted Bayley to win. And when Naomi came in and stole it, like, there was some cheering, but a lot of people were just not about it. Not about it at all.
Yeah, the thunder was definitely taken away. And it has nothing to do with Naomi not being a good talent. It's just that Bayley's been browbeated pretty hard, and this was like a good W to give her, and they just didn't.
Like I was discussing with some with some of the people on Tumblr. I hope to God that whatever's going on with Sasha and Bayley ends with Bayley doing the heel turn and not Sasha, because just imagine, if you will, heel Bayley, which is almost exactly the same as face Bayley, except they just dial like the insanity up. A la Mickie James back in her original run. Like, sure. Just 11. Like, she's still a hugger, but like people hug her because they're afraid of her.
Yeah, imagine.
Yeah, like she's just like she's got that thing that's wrong in her eyes there. So Naomi was your first ever women's battle royal. She won the very unfortunately shaped trophy that looked like a uterus. I am not making that up, viewers. For those of you who are watching or did not watch it, that's exactly what it looked like. And that was your Wrestlemania pre-cook. The less we say about it, the better. And we're actually going to take a break now. But on the other side of the break, we have the main show, and we're also going to give our thoughts about the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Greatest Sausage Fest.
Greatest Sausage Fest. So we will see you after the break.
See you soon, folks.
On behalf of Kane Super What Snooker and myself, the Faded Saint, we would like to thank All Around Us for our opening theme, Destruction. And we would also like to thank me, Chet, for our closing theme, Picnic in the Reactor. And hey, it's a mega show, so that means you're going to get a mashup this week. And we have found a nice one. It is Woken Matt Hardy versus Aleister Black, the Evil Anthem. Enjoy. Welcome back. I'm your boy, Coming the Faded Saint. That's my boy, Kane Super. What's Snooker? And this week, it is brought to you by a nap. I need a nap, man. God.
You are not kidding.
It just took so much out of me. I had no voice at Raw. None. I was just so tired at SmackDown. I think I only got up once during the entire thing, like to actually like get up and like do. I was just like, I got my concessions at the beginning of SmackDown. I sat there and I took some pictures from my seat, and then that was it. I had my food, I had my drink, I was right there, and then that was it. I was done. And but that was that. And we now have the main show to get to. And oh my God, there is so much to get to here. We've already gone over the pre-cook. And of course, they probably started us out with what I would personally say was the best match of the night, I would say.
It was definitely one of them.
That is, of course, the Intercontinental Championship. It was the Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus The Miz. And, oh my God, like they just brought it. They did,
but we also have a little treat for our audience. Tell them what you had over the weekend.
Okay, so I would like to point out that, when I went to Takeover with Best, we went to the local burger place. That's right by the Smoothie King Center in the Superdome. It's a place called Company Burger. They have wonderful burgers there. And as we were there, who walks in while we're eating but Seth Rollins? And man,
pictures and all, man.
I took a picture of him. I didn't get in his face or anything. I just look who just walked in and posted it to my social media. There were some people who were just way aggressive. There were some of these girls that were trying to, who were just trying to take pictures of him and trying to get him to, and he's like, man, I just came off. I'm just trying to eat my burger because he was with a friend. He's like, I'm just trying to eat my food, thank you. But I just got off of, the access over there and doing he was clearly frazzled and he just wanted to have his burger and his craft beer. He went to the bathroom at some point, and from what I saw, somebody got up and tried to follow him in, but they were single serve bathrooms, so they couldn't follow him in. I can't imagine what kind of celebrity that is. But as he was leaving, he had to pass by our table, and I just kind of leaned over, and as he was passing by, I just said, "Good luck, Seth," and he said, "Thank you," and that was it. That was the only interaction that I had because dude was just trying to get some grub. He doesn't need somebody in his face getting all up in his business. Good luck. Let him on his way. That's all that's required there. And you want to know what? He won the Intercontinental Championship. Because who wished him luck? The heel that runs this deal. I take full credit for that. It was all me. If I had not wished him luck, Finn would have won. That's the way it would have happened.
I totally understand not disturbing somebody. I totally understand not disturbing someone that eats, but he was on his way out. I would have asked for a quick selfie. Hey man, I'm rooting for you tomorrow. That would have been a quick one.
If I hadn't have witnessed a bunch of people just being super pushy with him and him just being fried beyond all belief, because I imagine he was doing two things that weekend. He was doing the WrestleCon for his Black and the Brave, a wrestling school, and he was doing the Access where hundreds of thousands of people were coming to get autographs from people. I imagine he was due. I said good luck. He acknowledged me. All that was needed. Now back to the match here. This match was freaking phenomenal. They came and they were not screwing around. They sat there and was like, you want to put us as the first actual match? Okay.
I think one of the coolest things was the Miz saying, you know what, I don't need the Miz Taraj for this match, and dismissed them walking away.
Me too.
Another thing that what you didn't get to witness, and of course only the people watching it get to witness, is there was 3-dimensional graphics that were going across the screen for the Miz.
Right.
Awesome, like Hollywood reviewer stuff. It happened I think 2 or 3 more times after that, but it was interesting to see. I really liked the intro that all of them had. All of them got a really cool way to come out. Of course, Seth Rollins. If you're not a Game of Thrones fan, you didn't notice or catch it, but he was.
I was too far away. I found out about it after the fact.
Yeah, he was. He came as one of the what do you call it? On the other side of the wall, the Walkers, the White Walkers.
The White Walkers.
So yeah, so he had the blue eye. He had the blue eye contact lenses and everything. It was pretty cool. Everything was just great. That whole match was unbelievable. And I have to say, if I could ask for anybody for a triple threat, I would always ask for Finn Balor, because he seems to find a way to be a good mixture. If he needs to be as a side piece or in the middle of something, he will always be the one who's willing to work with both wrestlers during those in and outs when they clearly can't have all three in the middle of the ring. And it was just one of those deliveries. And the best part about it is that I'm not upset that The Miz lost. And I'm actually rooting for him in Backlash. That is how good all three guys are. Like, they're like the new darlings of this. Like, they're not indie darlings, of course, because they're on the main roster, but they are definitely MR darlings. I'm going to call that's my official name for these people. They're main roster darlings. Miz, Seth, and Finn. The match was just all around cherry.
It was, and the crowd was into it. It was a great way to start the actual show proper. It was nice and hot. Everyone was into it. Everyone was there. Boom, 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 ready to go. What can you say? But your winner, becoming the last member of the Shield, but now all of them have become Grand Slam champions, Seth Rollins. And
way to start it.
Yeah.
That's like how do you, and then it's all around, like, of course WrestleMania is infamous for ramping up strong, like starting off strong, kicking it all the way down. But then once the gas lets out, it just goes horribly steep for the rest of the pay-per-view. And it's because it's also just stupid long. I mean, you said it yourself. You've been out on the road since already 1:20. We're talking about it has to be at least 7:30 by the end of that match.
At this point, by the end of that match, it was about 6:30, 6:45. Because remember, WrestleMania starts an hour early.
Well, it's going by my time. So
yeah, by your time. So at this point, I am about 4 or 5 hours into it at this point. Since I've left my house.
Yep.
Going into the next match, which was Charlotte Flair versus Asuka for the Women's Championship. And again, this was a cracker of a match. It was 100%. The crowd was invested. It was good. Both women were great. It was a wonderful story.
The level of how Charlotte was interacting in that match was just on par. Classic professional right there.
Exactly. I mean, it was. Now, there's two schools of thoughts as to how this goes. There's some people who think they pulled the trigger on ending the streak early, and there's some people who are like, "Oh my God, thank God it was Charlotte and not Ronda Rousey." And I mean, that's basically the two reactions they had. It was a good match. I'll be honest, I was a little sad that Asuka didn't win, especially since she ended up on SmackDown thanks to the Superstar shakeup anyway. But whatever. I can understand why they wanted to just get this out of the way, because the longer you pull that undefeated streak going, the more her legs gets cut out from under her after. Because if she's just the streak, then what happens after the streak. So I get why they pulled the trigger on it. It was a phenomenal match. It was a great match. Asuka doing the whole Charlotte was ready for Asuka thing at the end. I saw the post interview with Charlotte. So all around it was a fantastic match. It was one of the better matches. I still say the IC match is the top so far. We'll get into discussing disputing that later. But I mean, do you have anything else to add?
No, I thought that when it comes to there was passion in this match, and it was a really good face for face, and that makes it's very hard to really appreciate a face for face match, and this was just one of them right up there. It was really all around just a good moment. I got a little emotional when when Asuka goes, "You were ready for Asuka." So it was really that effect. And I don't know about you, but I had another moment where I was like, tap, you son of a bitch, when Charlotte had to use her one good arm and brace it just to make sure she could do the figure eight, just selling that arm damage that was going on with her already. It was just delicious. Delicious
right.
match.
Exactly.
And I'm using the French version of delicious, which just means amazing. So.
And then there was this match. The U.S. Championship match, pitting champion Randy Orton versus Bobby Roode versus Jinder Mahal versus Rusev from Rusev Day. Which, by the way, everyone was over for Rusev Day. I was in the concession stand for the entire match. Like the match was, the entrances happened. The match was over before I could get back to my seat.
It wasn't flavorful. This was one of those triple threats that just wasn't flavorful.
Like, I understand that Jinder pinned Rusev for it. I mean, I guess it's not on Randy anymore, and Jinder was just a paper champion to get it to Jeff, to get Jeff to SmackDown.
True. He's been always good to be a paper champion. I'm so glad they didn't stick with the agenda of keeping his belt on him until the Royal Rumble for the heavyweight.
Can you only imagine? I mean,
no, I can't.
I can't actually comment on the match because I didn't see it, but it was super short.
It was really just a big finisher spot fest, and they had to find a way to cheat out the match. So Jinder Mahal pulled up Rusev. 1, 2, 3. That was it.
Yep. Your winner, Jinder Mahal. And then, of course, came what I believe is your favorite match of the night.
Oh, well, it should be everyone's favorite match. It wasn't a match. It was just a really good clown show. But it was a good clown show. It wasn't like a bad clown show.
But it's not my favorite. My favorite match of the night has yet to come. But it was, of course, this was the spectacle match. This was the one of the big media darlings that drew the non-wrestling fans. It was Triple H and Stephanie McMahon versus Kurt Angle and Rowdy Ronda Rousey. First of all, let's just get one thing out of the way. There's a certain old school wrestler by the name Superstar Billy Graham, who I don't know why he keeps going onto social media and pissing in people's cereal. Ronda got permission from Piper's family to continue the gimmick. Ronda was a personal friend of Roddy Piper. I understand the people who thought
even in his MMA days, even her MMA days, it wasn't just like coming to wrestling for it.
Exactly. I understand the people who are like, "Oh, that's gimmick infringement." No, she was respectful. She asked. The jacket that she wears, the leather jacket that she wears to the ring, is Piper's jacket that was given.
I told you this. Yeah, I told you this.
Exactly.
His son gave her the jacket, and he gave her the jacket by surprise at the Royal Rumble. It was a last minute thing. He came to the backstage, and he goes, "I got a gift for you," and then he gives her the jacket. She was almost afraid to come out because she couldn't stop crying. Like it was emotional, the fact that this was like one of probably the greatest gifts you could ever give her, because this was worn by him. This wasn't like
and he was
piece. It was like worn
and he was legitimately her idol. And I think it's fair to say, as far as this match goes, she exceeded everyone's expectations because no one really had a whole. Everyone expected that it was going to be Trips and Angle carrying this match. But she carried this match a good deal herself.
So did Stephanie. It wasn't, like I said, it was a really amazing. Now, I don't want to say it's a wrestling match because clearly it was designed to show off a good stunt. It was just a really good extravaganza. So it's a clown show. But it wasn't the disrespectful clown show where people would say, it was a clown show. This was good. This was entertaining. This was like, and all the emotions across the spectrum was happening in this. Everything. I mean, like, Stephanie impressed the hell out of me, too. But Ronda was a goddamn Terminator. At one point, I couldn't believe that was a physical thing a person can do, and Ronda did it. And that was that tumble that made it look like as if she didn't even roll. Like, it was like it was a video game reset, and she was already standing up. It was that fast.
And the crowd was hot for it. Yes. Like, they were hot for all of it. But especially that ending sequence where she was just like, where like Stephanie was like trying to keep her, and then Ronda finally got the arm, but she milked it, and she just very slowly just went around and curled it, like just milked that one moment before she finally set in deep for that arm bar, and Stephanie just tapped like everywhere. Like,
yeah. Well, that slow moment reminded me of just talk about like the tension. Remember when Samoa Joe like slow talked Paul Heyman?
Oh my God!
To that corner of the ring.
AKA Samoa Joe doesn't need your script to tell you how to do it, because apparently he got in trouble for that.
Yeah,
Apparently, apparently because he put down the microphone, like people lost their minds because he wasn't supposed to put down the microphone. But he and Paul he went to Paul. He's like, hey, what do you think about this? It's like, I love it. Do it. That's gonna get the best reaction, and it did. You remember when he sat there and he put the microphone down, and you just had to listen through the camera mic to him explaining exactly what he was.
The reason why Vince and all of them were pissed. Because they're going to lose their money in the commercials they don't get anymore, or some bullshit, is because they wanted the crowd to hear him say stuff, and of course it was impossible.
It was so much better the way that they did it.
Oh yeah,
and it got such a huge reaction because the crowd was like, "Oh shit, he's really gonna fuck Paul up," and that was kind of what
it also allowed replays because he was like, "Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kill you." Like, like that kind of thing.
You're gonna feel a slight little pop in the back of your head. It's like, oh god, damn, Joe.
Yeah, he was like, it was like a novel. It was like a horror novel being explained. And that moment, you could see that same tension, that same creep feel when Ronda's looking at her, going like in her head. This is what I'm going to do with this arm. I'm going to pull it back. I'm going to stress your tendons. I'm going to break parts of your bones. You're going to hear fracturing sounds. There's a possibility of damage that you can't repair for months. I'm going to do it right here. I'm moving.
We're getting off topic. We've got to get back to the match. We've got to get back to the actual match.
But it's just not scary though.
It is scary, but we can't fanboy over Samoa Joe. We
can't fanboy over Ronda Rousey's moment.
But I mean, it was very much scary like that. Your winners, of course, it was your winners. But damn, what a great ride it was. I definitely recommend going back and seeing it. It definitely makes me feel a little bit better about Ronda Rousey's future. I still think she should maybe go take a trip down to NXT down there and like maybe get some season on there.
If future site wise, if we're talking about future tense right now, I kind of like what's going on with her right now. They're obviously only making her wrestle at pay-per-views, but they're still giving her FaceTime on Raw. Like she's on the sidelines with Natty
at the moment, isn't it?
Your wife to be, yeah. So Mrs. Fade Satan's doing pretty good as a face right now with her. And I think what I like about Ronda Rousey's current role in the WWE is she's preserved. She's like, I'm here to wrestle and have and be able to enjoy a good experience. I'm not here to saturate the market, and that's rare and that's good. This is the good Brock Lesnar that we want.
As long as she's not Brock Lady.
Yeah,
exactly. that's a good thing.
Exactly.
And moving on to a match I was looking forward to, but in the end ended up being kind of disappointing. The Bludgeon Brothers versus the New Day versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. A triple threat match, yet another triple threat match. And this was just, there were a couple of spots, but this was just a one-sided beatdown by the Bludgeon
Brothers. This was a snuff film in a wrestling match.
On the one hand, I'm happy for Rowan and Harper that they're getting a serious run with the tag titles, and I'm glad that they're taking them
on a very tipsy Walking on Eggshells gimmick. By the way, like this is like old school.
It's old school, and it's a little hokey, but they're playing them up like monsters. They sacrificed their two biggest acts in the tag division in order to get them over. They feel legitimately frightening, and they're just they're just running straight through everyone. So I would have liked to have seen their Wrestlemania match be a little bit more substantial, because it's at Wrestlemania, but your winners and tag team champions, the Bludgeon Brothers. It was the right call. It was the right thing to do. And hopefully they keep that going.
Agreed. But there's really much to talk about that match after that.
We have to at least mention it.
Of course.
Because this next quote unquote match
flipping the radar
comes with a condition. Comes with a condition. So 4 weeks now, for months actually, we've been hearing that The Undertaker was going to come back and he was going to face John Cena. About 10 years too late for this thing to be a thing. Now, I've said it before, and I will say it again. If The Undertaker wrestled at WrestleMania this year, then immediately and completely, WrestleMania 33 was a complete abject failure, and I will change my grade from an A, which was given on the pretense that it was The Undertaker's retirement match, and not just another, oh, look at how awesome Roman is main event, to an F. And so after months of teasing, they did not actually have The Undertaker come out and accept on TV. John Cena was actually for realsies out in the crowd. A referee after the women's title match came out and whispered in his ear, and he ran to the back, to the eye rolls of an entirely filled New Orleans Superdome.
Actually, this happened during the women's match, by the way.
Yeah, I mean that had happened at the women's match, but this is where it paid off, because this is where John Cena came out and was waiting, and then another referee came out and presumably was telling him, sorry, there was a mix-up, it's not going to happen. And of course, that's when Elias came out and trolled everyone. And it was cool. I mean, I was happy to see Elias. No, it didn't fool anyone. It didn't fool anyone in the least, because he squashed Elias. He got halfway up the ramp, and then bong. You know, and I'm conflicted about this, because I will not even try to pretend to lie to you. I marked out when I heard the bong. Like, you can't. It is physically impossible when you hear The Undertaker's bong that you don't just have a little fanboy moment or fangirl moment. You can't do it. It's not possible. Unless you're the one he's coming out to get, and then, you know, the first thought in your head is, I could just run. I felt bad in that instance. My sister even leaned over, who was sitting next to me, and said, so does this mean the last WrestleMania failed? And I was like, yep. WrestleMania 33, an F, officially now. For any of you keeping score at home, change that A to an F. Completely. Done. For all the reasons that I've said before that I'm not going to go over again. They did it. They pulled the trigger on it. The Undertaker comes out, and they have a match. And if they were going to do this, this was the only way that this was going to work. They at least did it correctly. I'll give them that much. It was just a straight-up squash match on, of all people, John Cena. John got like what? Like like half of the 5-knuckle shuffle?
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. Total squash match. The Undertaker comes out, hits all of his shit, wins, does the knee, rolls out of the ring, does the slow walk up, fist in the air. Undertaker wins. Huzzah.
I still don't think the last year's WrestleMania deserves as much as an injunction as you did, only because it's not an official match. It's a brawl. It's an unsanctioned moment.
No, there was a referee. There was a bell ring. It was a match. If there's if there's a referee, it's an official match. There was
referees in the unsanctioned match against Johnny Gargano and Ciampa.
But it wasn't listed as an unsanctioned match. This was presented as a real match that happened. And regardless of whether it's unsanctioned or sanctioned, it's a match. It's a match that happened. This wasn't a brawl. This isn't like The Undertaker came out, threw a couple of punches, and then John Cena went away. There was a pinfall.
Yeah,
this was a match.
That's just the way to mark it out. I still don't think it's an official. It wasn't carded when it started. It didn't match.
It was carded. It was carded. There's I've got a graphic up that I got off of WWE.com right now that says that it was a match.
That still not to me. Anyway, it's great to disagree on this one.
Yeah,
obviously, this was the beginning of the gassy end to WrestleMania. After this, it was just all if you could keep your eyes awake, good luck.
Well, this next match actually was the beginning of the end for a very specific reason. But of course, I am speaking of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Shane McMahon, and after 3 long years, the returning Daniel Bryant. When Daniel Bryant's music hit, was just chills. It was like The Undertaker's gone. It really was. Like, everyone was with it. And then when they teased that stupid shit, like Daniel Bryan was going to be injured and like he wasn't going to get in the match, that's where they started losing people at the end of the pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. Now, and they had to work to get it back. And Daniel is Daniel, and he's amazing, and he brought it back, and it was a great match. It was my favorite match of the night. It really was. I'm not saying it's the best match of the night, but it was my favorite. And it was 100% awesome. It was electric. You got to see him get his dream back. And that was freaking awesome. But after they pulled that nonsense with that, it was the beginning of the end there. Do you have anything to add to the match? I mean, it was Daniel Bryan won with Shane McMahon. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn would stay fired from SmackDown, but they would show up on Raw the next night, have a match. Both of them would be counted out, and then Stephanie McMahon would hire them the next week over the objections of Kurt Angle, because of course they were going to get rehired on Raw. It's Sami Zayn and freaking Kevin Owens. They're just freaking just too. They're too entertaining not to have a part of your company. Like, of course it was. But anyway,
this obviously was a threatless match. It was teethless.
It was teethless, but I did like the fact that you know, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn went through the crowd, just attacked them from behind. Yeah. I did like that. Yeah, and the crowd was with that right up until they did the power bomb on the ring apron. It's like, oh, like everyone in the audience was like, "Oh, you better fucking not! Oh, you better fucking not!" And thankfully, Bryan got into the match and he was able to save it.
Yeah. But that after that, the energy had to have gone down hard.
Oh, it was. Like, I felt bad because the next match, which was the Universal Women's Championship, Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax. First of all, Alexa had a freaking amazing entrance.
Oh yeah.
And everyone wanted to cheer. People were trying to get into it, but they were just so gassed. And I felt bad. I mean, it got a decent reaction, but it should have gotten a better reaction. The crowd wanted to give them a better reaction. But, I mean, at this point, we are approaching... No, we are approaching... Yeah, we're approaching 9:30 at this point. So, 8 hours. And I have now been on the road. I have been eating... I didn't drink alcohol while I was there. I didn't have a single beer because I knew if I had a beer, I would have been done with because I wouldn't have been able to survive. There were some people who were not able to last through it, period. There was a couple who was right in front of us who had their 2 kids with them, and those kids were knocked out by the time this match came around, and they just had to leave because their kids were sleeping. You know.
That had to suck.
That's a freaking $200 ticket per person. And there were like 4 or 5 of them. So
yeah, but they knew that. They had to knew that coming in, though.
Yeah, they had to knew that going in. But it's one of those things where it was a good match.
Yeah, but you know what? The rest of the matches that were following this anyway, all the ones that people probably wanted to see happened already. So except for one.
Well, one more match, and we'll get to that. But the story of the match was great. Like, Alexa was a good chicken shit heel. She tried to cheat her way to win. It didn't exactly work for her. And
a funny ass moment happened between that. Yeah, Nia Jax screamed at Alexa. She went, "Ah!" and Alexa went, "Ah!" Pretty much like a scream, like you would see getting scared. It was the camera. The camera made it happen, though. It was like one of those moments where the camera angle made it work. They did one pan right there, low angle up on Nia Jax screaming, going to upper angle down, Alexa Bliss screaming, and it was just like quick lightning moves, like switch, scream, and it just made me laugh so hard seeing that happen. It was just so freaking hilarious. And of course, Nia Jax just dominating for her justly deserved Raw Women's Championship.
That top rope Samoan drop, just looked like it killed Alexa.
Oh yeah.
I know in real life they're like best friends, and I know that this whole match aside, the gimmick that they had to get to this match was really fucking tasteless.
Yeah,
it really was, especially
Especially
considering that Mickie James was a part of it, and the whole Piggy James when she left last time years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Nia Jax has talked very openly about the current WWE backstage staff, some of them fat shaming her, and the fact that Alexa Bliss is a survivor of bulimia. She's had legitimate eating disorders. I can only imagine what had to be going through their mind when they were told this was the angle they were going with this match. It was tasteless all around. I applaud the women for, I mean, you were doing what you were told. I don't blame any of them. I blame the stupid freaking writers, but they made a great match out of it. I really wish I do too. But they made a great match out of it. It was a memorable moment. Congratulations, Nia Jax. You deserve it 100%. And this was where the crowd really started to turn. Because the moment we realized that the next match was AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, yeah.
There was initial cheer because this was a match we all wanted to see.
Then a slow
realization. And then, right after they had cut to the package, everyone realized what that actually meant. And it was boos. Now, the match itself was a little bit of a letdown. Shinsuke's entrance was awesome live, by the way, y'all. It was fucking awesome. The match was a little weirdly paced. I don't know. Did you get that watching the match?
It was not their best match. I'm gonna say it right now.
But the only thing I can think of is that they were told to do that so that they could build to what happened after the match. So the end of the match was AJ Styles manages to block the Kinshasa or one of his moves into the freaking Styles Clash and won the match. Mm-hmm. So at this point, both of the Royal Rumble winners have lost their match at WrestleMania.
Yep.
So
just to show you, it also shows you the faith that Vince has for the people that they make win.
Yeah, from the people they had from New Japan won the match. Like, all right, you've got your internet darlings as Royal Rumble winners. You're not getting the titles though. But I mean,
is it still a tradition for them to go on like Talk America after WrestleMania?
Yeah.
With the belt? Yeah. Yeah. You really think they're gonna give? Yeah. You really think they're gonna give it to Shinsuke and Asuka to go there?
I would like to think that they would.
Yeah, but come on, they were gonna. That's a PR disaster in their minds.
No, it isn't. The PR disaster is that they play up. Shinsuke actually, while he doesn't have the most perfect English ever, he can speak English pretty decently. So can Asuka. They really can.
If we're going by their mic skills alone, I really
because they're told to do that.
Yeah,
and that's just the stupid part of it. However, what actually transpired was it looked like we were going to get it to the same thing that we got with the women's match. That it was going to be respectful, hey, it was a good job. And then Shinsuke gave the first in what we now know is a long series of dick punches to AJ Styles.
Nut punch.
Like over and over again. Like that's really his gimmick right now. The Pinshaska.
Yeah. That's the good old beanbag punch right there. And it's getting annoying. I'm going to let you right now. It's getting annoying now. It's not.
They need to drop this title to Shinsuke at Backlash this weekend so that they can be done with it. But exactly. I mean, I like what they've done. With the exception of that, I like what they've done with heel Shinsuke just being just an utter dick. Like in all of his interviews, like literally, I was at SmackDown and the reaction when I was like, I'm very sorry what I did. I just got emotional. And Renee Young's like, no, you're not. Give me a real answer. No, speak English. And then walks off. And the fan was like, ha, 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 ha.
Let me ask you this, though.
They still cheered him in the dark match, by the way.
The moment the nut punch happened, how was the crowd reaction for the heel turn?
Oh, that was the pop of the match right there. Because they were like, all right, okay, I can get behind this. Yeah.
Oh man, and then how bad was it? Like, oh my god! Now we know that only 2 matches left, and one of them clearly the main event, which is the goddamn match that they didn't want happening. Last year, they were smart to give Goldberg and Brock the match early.
Yeah,
but of course,
it's Roman, so Roman gets the main event because
reasons. We're gonna go before that. We're gonna go ahead and talk about the stupidest and funniest thing at the same time: the Raw Tag Team Championship match. It's Cesaro and Sheamus versus Braun Strowman and the unknown wrestler of the time being announced.
Like, we were sitting here and we were speculating, oh man, Samoa Joe's coming out.
Bobby Lashley's
Bobby Lashley's supposed to be somewhere around. Man, there's so many people it could be. Jeff Hardy's coming back. What a big cast was it? And no.
Yeah, big cast.
It was Nicholas.
Little kid.
Just some kid. They buried the entire tag team division for this one-off gag. It was not a Make-A-Wish kid, by the way.
Nope, it was a referee's son.
It was the referee's son. And
I mean, that kid's got a story for the rest of his life.
I mean, yeah, he's got a story for the rest of his life. He was tag team champions at the age of 8, with Braun Strowman.
My Braun and Savior, by the way.
Which they relinquished the very next night on Raw, making all of this utterly pointless.
I think the only integrity they wanted to keep, which is why I found this stupid, the only integrity they wanted to keep is you had to have a partner to win the tag team champions. Because I still think it would have been fantastic if it was just Braun Strowman.
The problem was that they just wanted Braun on the show. And they couldn't figure out how to get them, so they concocted this stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? I don't know. Put him in the main event against Brock and just give the man the damn championship like you should have done originally. Nope.
That's a big fat no.
But we'll get back to that in a second. It was stupid. It was dumb. Everyone kind of went along with it, mostly because we were all scared of Braun Strowman at that point, because when he said, give it up for Nicholas, the entire Superdome went, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Listen,
sure.
You
go, Nicholas. You go.
The one thing I have to agree with you, ever since you said it, was Braun Strowman is what Vince McMahon wanted Roman Reigns to be.
He is.
Crowd and crowd reactions. That man is super hot on the scale that he's championship material. He's got to be champion this year. There's no way this man's going to sit idle knowing he is white nuclear hot when it comes to crowd and wanting and demanding him to be a champion somewhere. There's no way. There's got to be some moment. But this right here was one of those yes ma'am, no ma'am moments.
This was just... I'm happy for Braun. I'm happy for the kid.
But it's his first gold. That's what sucks. His first gold is a gimmick gold.
His first gold is a gimmick gold that he relinquishes in 24 hours. Not, I need to find another partner who can actually compete.
Yeah. But it was funny. It was hilarious.
It was funny.
One of the funniest moments in that entire match was before the match, getting Nicholas in the ring.
And once again, I do not blame Braun Strowman for this.
No, not at all.
Braun Strowman.
I have to say this. The funniest moment I was trying to say is he had the mic in his hand, Braun Strowman, and he was trying to get Nicholas in the ring because obviously Nicholas can't do like what a wrestler does and just hop in there. So first he tries the mid rope and he was going to try, but then he realized, no, that's probably a bad idea. Let me stretch the mid rope and lower the lower rope and getting in. And Nicholas is staring at Braun at this point, and he's about to walk in, and Braun goes, "Get in the ring!" And he sounded like he was yelling at him, and it was just because it was on camera, it was hilarious because the way it looked, because the mic picked everything up. And I think he was just screaming because I have to assume it's very loud for them and they can't hear. So he probably was saying this so he could hear, so Nicholas can hear him. But the mic picked it up like he was yelling at him, like, "Get in the ring!" Like some scene from the new God of War, like, "Boy, move!" So
he kind of looks like Kratos. So
yeah, well, he is my Braun and Savior. Do not take these hands in vain.
Do not take these hands in vain. Do not take these hands in vain, writing crew. Well, that's okay because the word on the grapevine is that the Reigns experiment is over and they're moving on to Strowman.
Good.
So
besides that, okay, let's face it. Obviously, we all know.
Let's talk about the main event. Of course,
No,
it's Brock Lesnar.
We're not going to talk about it. This is what I want to do. All right, folks. Roman lost. Braun. There was a call in. Refs told him, Braun, Brock, you have to win this match. We're not giving it to Roman. There is no pop. We'll save it for Saudi Arabia or whatever. And they go, okay,
which they let me still do what I do.
But hold on. Let me just do what I gotta do. Okay, let me break his head open, and that's it. And we'll make him win. That's all I want to talk about for the match. What I want now is I want you. Yes, you. Mm-hmm. You were there.
I was there.
There was so much shit going on in that audience. In that entire match, I want to hear all the chants that they were saying, because some of them were garbled for us. I want to know what your peers around you were saying. I want to know everything. I want to know people walking away because they knew this was a shit match. I want to hear good shit.
Let me put it to you like this. At this point in time, it is now getting towards 11 o'clock. Everyone is fucking tired. And now we have to sit through this bullshit again. Then everyone is aggravated. And the moment Roman's music hits, the crowd turned. The crowd was not having any of this shit. They booed Roman. They booed Brock. They booed everything. Everything that you saw. If you think that the crowd was reacting to the match, they weren't. They were. I have never seen just a place so audibly turn. Like the WWE said, all right, well, here's what you get. And the crowd went, nope. They said there was the fuck you Romans chant. There was the this is awful chant. There was the bring back Nicholas chant. There was the Titus Worldwide. They did the CM Punk. They were doing the freaking wave. They were pulling out beach balls and throwing them around. And they were cheering for the people who kept throwing the beach balls out. And they were booing for the people who were for the security who were taking the beach balls. The crowd wanted nothing to do with this match. They weren't watching it. People were leaving. People didn't care. I'll be quite honest. I honestly regret not leaving during the match. I really do. Because it took us 2 hours to get home. So it actually took me a whole 12 hours to do Wrestlemania from when I left my house to when I got back home again. But I mean, Best had said, if that ends up being the main event, you should walk out. I should have listened. But I was like, no, this was an expensive ticket. I'm going to see the whole show. I'm going to see it all the way through. Yeah. Even if I have to.
Mama Saint gave you that ticket, boy.
Yep, Mama Saint gave me that ticket. I'm not going to waste Mama Saint's money. But it was one of those things where it's done. He's done. Everything Samoa Joe said on Raw was true. I don't know where they go with Roman with this. This is 4 years in a row he's headlined WrestleMania, and he has been WrestleMania 31. Last minute, on day of the show, they decided they were going to go with Seth cashing in the Money in the Bank. WrestleMania 32, they had to freaking block out the crowd because when he won, nobody cared. WrestleMania 33, booed out of the building. WrestleMania 34, loses to Brock because they weren't going to do it. Now, there's rumors that they were going to save it for the Greatest Royal Rumble. That didn't happen. Roman didn't win. He lost. So I don't know what you do with him at this point. He's not your top guy. Nobody's buying it. The only time people cheered him in the last 4 years was when he was with the Shield. And that was it. That's the only way. And at this point, he's not even getting booed because he's a heel. He's getting booed because we don't want to see him anymore.
We don't want the pressure of him on us anymore.
It's not even the pressure. We just don't want him. Stop. Just stop. And it's not even that I dislike Roman anymore. I think he's come from WrestleMania 31 to now. He's come a long way as a wrestler. He has put on some damn good matches. I can admit that.
And he's gotten better on the promo mics, too.
He's gotten better on the promo mics, too. Granted, he's still can't hold a candle to John Cena.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, John's been at the game for a while. But
he was also naturally talented on the mic, too.
Right. But, I mean, that's the thing. That is the thing, is that everything you've done has not worked. This has to be it for him. He was so forcefully rejected. So you've burned 4 WrestleMania main events. The only ones that have ended in cheers was the one where Seth basically stole the title from him. There was a momentary cheer with Brock. But I mean, that was it. Well, they were just cheered because the match was over and they could leave. Not a lot of people stuck around to watch Roman walk out. I was halfway out of the Superdome by the time they played his music and they were showing him walk up the aisle. Nobody cared. And don't take this as WrestleMania. This was a once in a lifetime experience. I absolutely enjoyed every single minute that I got to hang out with my family and their friends that came along with it. My friends who had gotten seats in different places, we were geeking out on the ride home, talking about it and stuff like that. 100%. From an event standpoint, it can't be rated. But going back and looking at the show objectively, C+ at best. I'm sorry. It was too long. I don't actually know how you could pace a show that was this long. I don't really understand. I don't know how you can pace a show that this long. There's no way the crowd's going to last all the way through it. Having experienced it myself now, I could have slept for days. I could have gone to no other event that entire weekend, and I still would have been gassed by the end of WrestleMania. I still wouldn't have made it to the main event. Even if I was into the main event, even if the main event was Styles and Nakamura like everyone wanted, there's no way I would have been able to have given it the attention it deserved, the attention I wanted to give to it. It would have gotten a better grade probably if Styles and Nakamura was the end, but you know, the shit ass shenanigans of the last 2 matches, coupled over with really kind of an underwhelming matches throughout, and only just really a couple of really high points. This was an average WrestleMania, middle of the pack. I will remember it because I saw it live. I can't honestly say that anyone else is going to remember it, or if they do, if they're going to remember it fondly. I mean, you saw it from TV. What's your take on it?
I think. Sorry,
because you don't have the same I went to it live classes that I do. So
I have to say it was definitely not anywhere near as resourceful as they thought it was going to be. This is a clear example of Vince pushing his agenda and not getting people at Triple H in the head of the reels, because let's face it, man, they had, that was a call-in. There was no way that was Brock winning at the end. They were looking to see, they wanted to see the infamous kick out of the F5, and then how would the crowd react to that? But what sucked is the crowd didn't even react. Like you said, your first experience, they were all worried about everything else. There was WrestleMania at this point was the audience and a match was happening. That was it. And it took the piss out of it. I mean, I had somebody next to me in my house watching WrestleMania, and he's a really good neighbor. He's my neighbor next door. He's a really good, cool dude. And we watch all the major fours together. And we were just trying our best to hear all the crowd chants. And we were like aiming for funny stuff. And we were just talking about how this is just so bad. Like, this is just unbelievable. This is like, and Michael Cole was just trying so hard to make it sound like the big dog is doing it and all that stuff. And it was just not nowhere near valuable to anybody. And it was like zero fucks time at this point. So when it was time for, Roman to kick out of the F5, we saw the crowd. It was as if it was like, it might as well just put a giant painting background and have a fake crowd like it was an 8-bit wrestling show. They might as well have the wrestling crowd in a video game in that arena at that point because it was just nobody was there for that show anymore. It was literally, oh, well, we'll wait a little bit so the traffic can die down and then we'll head out. That kind of scenario. And we clearly saw that in the eyes of people and all that. The only thing that made it better was the fact that they called it in. They dialed it in. They go, you know what, Brock, do what you got to do. The coolest part of that, of course, is that he decided to do what he did to Randy. Full open him. Make him his bitch. Hardcore prison style. And to be honest, my grade,
Mm-hmm.
Nothing
would surprise me. I'm not going to argue.
I'm not changing WrestleMania last year. I still vigilant about how I think WrestleMania last year was way better than this one. First half.
I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you. Realize I'm failing WrestleMania not because I don't think it was a good show.
You're doing it on principle. I know.
I'm doing it on principle.
It's my time. It's my time.
All right. Yep, you're right.
I know. The WrestleMania on principle. I get it. We've had our arguments already about this.
They lied to me.
This podcast. We're not doing this anymore.
All right.
But last year's WrestleMania was clearly a better WrestleMania than this year, even though there was some really good moments. The very first one was the three-way triple threat for the Intercontinental title. The Ronda Rousey match was a surprisingly good match to enjoy and all-around excitement. But everything else was just, they were either predictable or they forced you to not be predictable. It was so obvious. There was a lot of 50-50 booking. That wasn't in a good way. It was the negative way. The way that if they don't pick them as the winners, that sucks. But clearly they're going to do it this way because that also sucks. So I'm giving this WrestleMania, I'm going to give it a D+.
Yeah, I can see it. Honestly, if I hadn't been there,
you know why I give it a D+ more than anything though? It has nothing to do with the fact that there were some good matches. It has to do with the fact that it had to follow probably one of the best pay-per-views of all time, ever.
And they knew something was up because even Raw after New Orleans was the Raw after WrestleMania was kind of tamed as compared to the other ones, which honestly I was kind of thankful for because I was kind of out of it for. And I mean, everyone was lit when Lashley showed up. Everyone was lit when Jeff Hardy showed up. Everyone was on fire when Ember Moon showed up, and when AOP showed up, they lost their goddamn minds. But
they pretty much got all the good NXT talent. So everyone practically had a graduation match, minus Aleister Black. He was obviously almost had a graduation match.
Yeah, because he's
who didn't have a graduation match that night. I guess the North American title.
Yeah, because that was all just that's the mid card right there.
Yeah. So yeah.
But I mean, it was great, and Sanity is going up to SmackDown. The Iconics was really the only thing that happened on SmackDown, and Paige, which by the way, that broke everyone's heart when Paige retired on Raw.
On Raw, yeah, it's always Raw too, by the way.
But everyone was ecstatic when she showed up on SmackDown as the general manager, and I got to see Daniel Bryan's first televised match in
singles match.
Yeah, in forever. And it was against AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome.
It was really good. It was. Folks, we're not going to get into detail about Raw and SmackDown. We just wanted to give you the highlights because we really want to just give our feedback on the greatest Royal Rumble. Which, by the way, I'm still sticking to my guns. It is the greatest sausage fest, and for political and religious reasons, by the way, which I'm not going to get into the geopolitical and systematic situations that are going on in Saudi Arabia, but clearly no women can wrestle. I think I was okay with this. I was actually one of the very few schmucks that decided to watch this live at 12 in the afternoon. So I was able to watch.
I still haven't watched it. I just read the.
I feel like if this was one of those off canon, kind of canon pay-per-views, because obviously the only thing that was relevant was that the Raw Tag Team titles finally had an answer. And that was the fact that Matt Hardy and
Bray Wyatt.
The
Deleter of Worlds.
The Deleter of Worlds won together, and it was a rematch against.
They had won it. they had won a
some
tournament
BS
since Braun
thingy.
couldn't do it.
By the way, the Revival was in that tournament, so I call bullshit.
I call super bullshit on that.
But I digress. But my point is this: for someone who's watched it, everything else was stupid. I mean, obviously, the Intercontinental match was going to be stupid because obviously one out of the two can't win because they went to SmackDown. The whole announcing of people changing up in the roster thing really took the piss out of the Great Royal Rumble because even the match with the United States title, two of them going to Raw, the other way around. There was nothing valuable anywhere. The only thing that was entertaining was the Royal Rumble itself and the tag team titles, finding out the information. Now, besides those two things, the thing that irked me the most about this event was actually the information I discovered after the event. So, Backlash is a unified show.
Yeah, that is the first. It's the first one that they're calling cross-brand, and
they have their video for it, which is the whole everyone singing, about the unification of the show. Mm-hmm. Well, turns out because women wrestlers in their gear were singing in the show, in that video scene, that Saudi Arabia is threatening to no longer allow the WWE in there because no women can ever wrestle in Saudi Arabia, and they're looking to pull away a lot of deals because of that 30-second Backlash video.
You know what? Good. Because the WWE needs to be saved from themselves in this matter. I understand that they got some ridiculous money.
$18 million. $18 million for one night. And a couple.
I get that from a business standpoint.
But you know what? If GERS can happen, which is the acronym here, then you know what they need to do for compensation for the women? They need to buy Glow, and they need to have a Glow pay-per-view. That's it. Make it happen.
They need to do something. But, I mean, here's the thing that irked me about the Greatest Royal Rumble. Well, two things, actually. Number one, for some god-unknown reason, did you notice how all of the champions who had lost their titles at WrestleMania didn't just invoke their rematch clause like they should have been able to? They had to win number one contenders match that, they won anyway. It's like, what was the point of that if you weren't going to switch it up?
Yeah, stupid.
And then the other thing was, did you hear about why that sumo wrestler ended up in the Royal Rumble?
No, that is new to me. What's up with that? What was that?
There were 3 people who were asked for by name by whoever put this on that did not show up in the Greatest Royal Rumble. Number 1 was Shawn Michaels.
Really? Which makes sense.
He turned down apparently a shit ton of money.
Yeah, but I can also it had to be.
Yeah, but I can see why. Number 2 was the Ultimate Warrior.
He's dead.
Yeah. Number 3 was Yokozuna.
He's also dead. Wait, are they going by, is this like one of those situations where I feel like I'm in the middle of that show, that movie Euro Trip, where the guys, they're in that third world country and they're still talking about 80s commercials and references because that's what they have at that time available to them?
Possibly.
Are they for real? Were they expecting, which by the way, I know, even though he's still alive, were they expecting Shawn Michaels the way he looked in 1994?
I don't know what they were expecting, but it is what it is.
So you're telling me the reason why that sumo wrestler was in the match is because he was supposed to be the Yoko-ist looking guy to represent that?
Yep.
Oh, that's stupid. I have to say, and this is, again, I don't want to discuss the culture differences here of Saudi Arabia, but small pet peeve here, which was kind of cool and also terrible, was the surrounding of the ring, were pretty much personal family members of whatever the region is over there for that country, and they got leather seats, like super cushioned, reclinable leather seats. I thought that was cool. But the suck part is nobody was sitting down. Everyone was in like these little huddled corners Like they were talking politics about a wrestling match or something. I don't know, but it looked rude. It was very annoying, and it's just. I mean,
I get that it's different because, like in Japan, like they don't they just do like little. There's not like a whole bunch of cheering.
Yeah, their biggest thing is if the match is meant to be like there's like a level of respect. Japan, you have, I would say, cool ways of allowing wrestling because wrestling's still allowed. It's just that they don't believe in chauvinism wrestling. So, like for example, a good example is Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, when he was over in Japan, couldn't do the leg drop was illegal in the sense of doing it for his finisher. He had to do some sort of snapmare or something. That was his finisher over there because the leg drop was considered, fancy wrestling, like, entertainment wrestling. That's just how it is. But yeah, that's the level of the card right there. It was just that. Now, of course, the greatest Royal Rumble itself, Braun Strowman, our Braun and Savior, do not take these hands in vain, won the greatest Royal Rumble, and I was super stoked.
And they retired the title.
So that title is useless then. They literally just made it for that, and that was it, right?
Yep.
Oh my God. I mean, it's cool. He's the only man who's probably going to have one, but still, that's hilarious.
It's more an award than a title, but
it looked like the cruiserweight title, but with obviously the Saudi Arabia stuff on it.
Right.
But if that's the case, if that's the case, my big question is what's going on with the UK title? Is that even a thing anymore?
No, I mean, Pete Dunne still has it. They need to do more with it, but he still has it, and it's still defended.
Fair enough. Either way, I'm donezo with this.
Yeah, me too.
This is a very frustrated little pay-per-view to witness on a Friday afternoon. It was 5 hours long, by the way. 5 goddamn hours. Every match was long, and there was so many of them. Because the reason why the Royal Rumble is not long in the sense of how it's used is because they only have maybe 1 or 2 main event matches and then Royal Rumble. Well, this one, it was every goddamn title was on the line, plus 2 non-title matches, and then a 50 goddamn man Royal Rumble. Which included Hornswoggle.
I saw that. I saw he did a white noise to Kofi.
Yeah,
or Woods or something. Anyway, so that brings us to the end of the podcast. Backlash is this weekend. You'll have to forgive us if we take a little bit more time with Backlash so that we're not just belting down podcast after podcast. But regardless of the fact, we're going to try and get that out to you as soon as possible. We're going to be back to our smaller format for that. And man, I don't even think I'm going to see Backlash live.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to wait it out too, because in this case, Papa Snuka's got to do something, so I had to make sure that he gets that first. So
I'm just, man, like this burned me out, like really burned me out. But
yeah,
we'll see what it is. At any rate, we would like to thank All Arounda for our opening theme, Destruction. We'd like to also thank Beachhead for our closing theme, Picnic in the Reactor. If you'd like to get in touch with us, I am at Faded Saint on the Twitter. If you'd also like to send us a question or anything, you can find me at Kamazite on Tumblr. We will try and get Backlash out in a timely manner, a little bit better than this. And until then, I'm your boy Kami the Faded Saint. That's my boy Kane Super What Snuka saying we will see you on the next podcast.
Later, folks.